I think it's time we talked about Rolex on the channel. I do know that we technically talked about Rolex already, but it was during a podcast that nobody watched, and it was more like rambling about the brand, and I want to have a proper conversation. So let's do it proper. Rolex is a brand that created literal turmoil in me. One day I absolutely love them, the other absolutely do not. Mainly, probably because they're very good at what they do, for better or for worse. There are different opinions now coming from the community, whether they actually have been doing something that fans do enjoy and do like, or they have been just disappointing people all across the place. The Jubilee motive dial is definitely something that people talk about. Not usually in the best of ways, I would say. And the 100-year celebration, the Oyster Perpetual, is, I guess, just a tad bit controversial. People still seem to like it, but still. I don't really want to talk about that, though. Well, not today at least. I'd love to talk about what I think makes Rolex such a powerhouse of a watch brand in a way that I don't really see people talk about often. You know how there are those videos, if you buy a Rolex, you won at life? Well, that's basically what they're trying to say, at least. These shorts like, if you got a promotion, then you absolutely have to celebrate it with a Rolex because this is a big guy watch. Personally, I absolutely despise those kind of videos because in my eyes it just undermines the whole idea of celebrating a purchase and watches in general and celebrating the achievement as well. Rolex didn't coin success, but people turned them into a success marker. That being said, I have often thought about one watch collections. I find it interesting to work with an idea of, let's make this one watch kind of my do-it-all piece. And I have often thought about what watch could that be. For quite a while I have considered the Tang being the watch for that. For a lot of different reasons, and probably those reasons are enough to make a whole new video on that. So let's hold on to that for now. But this idea kept nagging me, and soon I realized that Tang is not actually particularly it. Because, let's be honest, there are some places where a Cartier Tang just feels slightly out of place. I can't exactly imagine someone climbing a rock or a mountain wearing the Tang, even though I probably am stretching this a little bit. So I just kind of kept trying to figure out, what could this be the piece, the perfect one collection watch? I turned to many different watch companies in hopes that they would help me sort of to find that watch, to sort of expand on the Tang point that I was making earlier. In a way, it seemed like a very obvious answer because of how many different interesting traits it actually possesses. You have great heritage and story behind the watch, perhaps the most elegant and iconic case ever made, and it is very unique, and it has a plethora of amazing people who have been wearing the watch. And it's a simple watch on a leather strap, feels like everything you need, so it makes sense. But imagine playing tennis while wearing a Cartier Tang, or coming out of Galaxy Edge theme park with a nice scream in one hand and your loved one in the others. It feels like a bit of a stretch, right? That's when I decided to kind of drop the Tang. Not because it is not it, no, but because it's not versatile enough to be this one watch collection principle. Then I turned to Omega, and I got stuck a little. The only watch I could think of would be the Seamaster. And as much as I love it, I don't think it is a do-it-all in the sense that we need it. I tried my favorite Longines as well. No luck either. All of their watches are very specific. They fill in a certain category if you would like. Do something very specific. In general, I think that's actually something that a lot of watch brands and companies do. They fill in a very specific gap, they fill a very specific purpose, and they kind of just make watches to fill those specific watches, and they branch out whole lines of watches. It's a very fair approach, don't get me wrong, but it's not something that we need in this particular case of ours. That's when I turned to Rolex, actually, and found myself in a very interesting position. Let's go by the process of elimination, okay? So is it the Submariner? I don't think so. It's great, but in my opinion, it's just a tad too bulky to be used in formal occasions. Something very similar that we had with the Omega Seamaster. Besides, it's also like the Omega, it's built for the specific purpose of diving. Milgauss, the discontinued one, very cool watch. Scientific, but a bit too quirky. The 1908, I really don't think Rolex should be making a dress watch, to be honest. The list goes on, but it just doesn't feel right, any of it. You could make a very strong and pretty valid point that Explorer 1 fits the niche very, very well. After all, it has a minimalistic dial, a very conservative dial palette as well, black on silver or white on silver if you go to Explorer 2. But I just can't find enough in me to say that it scratches that particular itch. First of all, because for me, an Explorer dial is all be beautiful, but it looks a bit too big and it has a lot of different things going on. Cathedral hands, different star arm markers, and it has this adventurous sort of feeling to it, hence the name Explorer. It doesn't feel right, like something minimalistic, and most importantly, it feels slightly inappropriate, perhaps, to wear it with a suit. This watch was meant to climb the mountains, not for a cocktail night in Manhattan. And frankly, price-wise, I feel it's just a tad not too persuasive, given the buts and ifs that we've just discussed. And it brings me to the cheapest, yet the most versatile option Rolex has to offer. So the more I think about it, the more I'm becoming convinced that it's the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. Because it just really feels like this watch does not fall short in anything it tries to do. You want to wear it with a tux? Go on. Throw on a tee and jeans, or just like that, you got it. Classical look is what you want. Got a black dial. Want something funky? Pink, pistachio, you name it. All of that is here. No day of the week, no distractions, nothing overly fancy. OP is eliminating a need to consider whether it works with something or if it doesn't. It's sporty enough with its bracelet, yet classy enough with its finishing. It's an absolute tractor of a movement as well. Great finishing, and it's built to last. I really don't think that we talk enough about the OP line. In my eyes, our attention got really dragged to just different Rolex models. Not even because of Rolex itself, but because of the content that just keeps being produced, and thanks to a bubble of those wait lists as well, when Rolex is producing more watches than any other luxury Swiss company. Rolex was a tool watch company. And what makes a better tool watch, especially nowadays, than the one that just eliminates the need to worry if it works? Just put it on the wrist and go do your thing. I honestly think that we don't talk enough about the OP when it comes to Rolex. We don't praise enough a watch that I think could be understood as a real, if you want to, the big boy club, but in terms of complete elimination of that friction, of that, what am I going to do today? It's not about a flashy Daytona. It's about that one watch that you can just wear for the rest of your life. And I think that's pretty cool. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.